A1. Yeah, truly. Cooler and I'm flyer too. Jam. Cooler and I'm flyer too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back to A1 Forever Sports, the show that's cool and fly too. I'm Chris Tip Moore, and I got my plug, man. I got the plug walk. You know what I'm saying, with me today, man. About to talk some quick Atlanta Braves, get some quick thoughts about the Braves and just everything that they have going on. Again, of course, you know I'm Chris Tip Moore, but RJ, man, talk to the people, let them know who you are and what you got going.
My name is RJTL. I feel like the plug. Basically, born and raised from Atlanta. Part of the 95 North Sports Machine crew. So
Sir.
you're definitely gonna see a lot more of me coming soon. Had to take some time off due to some other prior commitments, but hey, I should be getting some contact, slowly but surely, pretty soon. And I'm just ready to get it rolling again.
Yeah, man. Get back into the saddle. Sometimes that's the best way to, get over things. I definitely know that's the one thing that helped me when I lost my pops was really sports and what I'm saying, having good people in your corner, the ones that check on you, make sure that you're straight, all that stuff like that. So definitely understand that, man. Happy to have you back in the saddle, man. But we're talking Atlanta Braves today, man. It's been a lot of stuff going on. And honestly, RJ, I know you've been kind of chopping at the bit for a while now, man. So, I mean, I know I really didn't get your thoughts, but what has your thoughts been of the Braves since the trade deadline? Let's start there. You know what I'm saying? Just because, again, just to get your thought.
So with them getting Jorge Soler, I wasn't really surprised at the trade. I actually, kind of like just they accepted and took it because that's just another controllable contract. Another couple of years, 60 million each. At first, I thought that he was probably going to replace Marcell Ozuna. However, I had saw reports that said they're going to most likely pick up the contract, which that's going to be a log jam right there. So ain't no telling what Double A is going to do. But the one thing that I did not like was when they brought back Luke Jackson.
Yeah, but that was a part of the deal, though, man. You had to give up something, man, to get something.
Yeah, you pretty much got rid of a World Series hero to a World Series almost costing us NLCS guy.
I tell you, like it used to be nervous watching Luke and sometimes Ian Anderson and shoot, man, even Will Smith going up there, man. But I mean, but in that playoffs, man, they were lights out. It all came together.
Yes.
But the thing about it is Luke, if I'm not mistaken, had like I think it was a 5.68 ERA or something like that. It may have
Yes.
been a little higher. But either
Yes.
way it go, it was they wanted to get rid of him anyway. And they said, okay, we'll give you Soler, but you gotta take Luke Jackson too. And we need Tyler Maxson back. So I mean, but the whole thing was the trade was for the bat. The trade was for Soler.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
definitely. His power was definitely needed, especially leadoff. At least until Michael Harris gets back. I know last night he was 3 for 4 with a homer, so that's definitely a good sign.
Yeah.
And with of course, the release of another World Series, NLCS hero in Eddie Rosario,
Yeah.
that was pretty much the sign that Michael Harris was solely finna come back. So we definitely getting healthy, but we got to start winning games.
Yeah, man. Gotta start winning games. The bats have been inconsistent, and I believe a part of that is due to the fact that we have been dealing with injuries. Okay, let's start from the beginning, just real quick, so we can catch up. Nobody's seen Spencer Strider going down. Nobody's seen Max Fried. Really, we don't have something going on with just about all of our pitchers except for Chris Sale and almost surprisingly Charlie Morton.
Yeah.
But we've been dealing with injuries off and on. Now, I know it's a part of the game. We try not to use injuries as an excuse, but when you start just having so many, it's hard to have that chemistry and camaraderie going on when guys are out of the lineup and then guys have to come back in. Michael Harris coming back, if he can come back and be raking, honestly, that would help the Braves tremendously because I mean we already know what he do on defense, but having him coming back and being able to put the ball in play, even if he's not hitting home runs, if he can come back and put the ball in play and get on base and drive in runs and stuff like that, I think it will bode well in the long term for the Braves because the most important thing is I think the Braves, they need to try to tread this water as long as they can and not get too far behind the Phillies and in the wild card race because we had that at one point in time, but now we're not even leading the wild card race anymore. So
Exactly.
we got to stay close though because to your point, we are getting healthy. It's just not fast enough. It's not right now, and we have to be able to survive the storm. We have to be able to survive the storm.
Oh yes, definitely. And speaking of like getting healthy, I did read that Ronaldo Lopez is actually going to be doing a rehab assignment tomorrow.
That was interesting when I seen that. I said, "Oh, well, that's a pleasant surprise." The thing
Yeah,
about it is, man, we need something to go our way. It's just like, come on, man.
exactly. And I mean, especially with Michael Harris, once we get him back, that might be the actual spark plug that we need. Because if you look top to bottom, there's not really that much of like a energizer like type player outside of like, of course, Acuna down for the year. So Michael Harris, like once he comes back, I think, the Braves, like with his energy should, get the bats going and again and everything. And the pitching,
Man, the pitching been saving us for most of the year. I think it's getting tired though. It's like
it is.
they need some bats.
I mean, you come on now. You blew. I don't even want to bring up Blue Jacks again.
That was terrible, man. I know. I seen today. Mark Bowman on Twitter.
Yes.
Covers the Braves. He had an analogy that was so spot on. That was just so crazy. Remember when Bobby Cox final game was in Coors?
Mm-hmm.
How we was winning that game and then we end up losing.
Mm-hmm.
He said that yesterday's game, well, on how they came back and won that game on us yesterday was worse than that.
Ugh.
And I kind of I know it's Bobby Cox in his final game, so I know some people gonna be like, nah, that's his final game though. So I understand what that, but I understand what Mark Bowman was saying. That was an absolute travesty. That right there, they scored 7 runs in that inning in order to come back and win that game. You had it. You had that and you had the series. Now the Rockies, that was a team that in my previous Braves video, I said I need you to sweep them. And we lost the series.
Yep.
It's like, come on, man. Like that's tough, man. And the thing about it is you having these games now. The Braves are about to play about 9:40, 9:45 tonight. And they're gonna be, finishing off the week pretty much, on the West Coast with all these different, late games against contenders, against people who wanna, take you down.
Yep.
And your pitching staff has got to take care of business. We got all these different guys. The problem is too, as far as names go, I know we don't really have any names, but for Braves fans, we really tread in the water a lot because it's like you have some guys that are coming in and giving some good relief. You do, but overall, when you look at it, it's like you almost, as a Braves fan, get nervous because on any given night somebody can get rocked.
Yep.
On any given night, somebody can get rocked. We've seen literally every pitcher that we have in some capacity get rocked this season.
Yep.
So I mean, I know it's a part of the game, but it's just like it's terrible timing. That's what it is. Terrible timing, some of these things. And the Braves, we said this a few months ago. As long as they're winning series, you kind of are okay. But now we're starting to lose more series. If you look at it from since the All-Star break, we're losing more series instead of winning them.
Yep. Them series add up, and there's gonna be a lot of point fingers at. One thing that I was also thinking about is what was discussed in the players only meeting.
True.
What was y'all talking about? Like, I mean, I know y'all trying to get some motivation in that locker room, but it's not showing on the field whatsoever.
Facts.
So now it's to the point where I remember one time I'm gonna bring up the Hawks. They had a players only meeting. Next game they lost, and then I believe Larry Drew was the head coach at the time, and he told them if y'all not going to change anything, he is. So I don't forget I'll manage a name. So what's up?
You talking about Double A?
No, not general manager, actual manager in the clubhouse.
Oh, Snick.
Yeah, Brian Snicker. He's gonna have to do something because if he don't make the necessary changes in getting this ship back on this track, he might get axed after this season. And I know how his loyalty with the team well over 30 years from the minors and up and down coaching. It may be time for a new voice.
I have an unpopular opinion though, brother.
What was that?
I can really see, even if we don't make the playoffs, I can see them bringing Snit back. I can see them bringing Snit back because the first thing that Snit gonna say was, "Well, we deal with injuries. I can't do nothing about that. I can coach up the guys that we have. We also don't have, the best farm system anymore. Now, granted, we did win the World Series because of it, but it's just the reality. We sacrificed so we could win. So now, I'm doing the best that I possibly can, but I will even go to Smith, Antoine Smitty Smith's point to what he was saying in our group chat. He feels like the team overall is giving up on Snit. Now, do you see anything like that?
Not yet. I would have to see a complete collapse.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Before I can say they quit it on him. I mean, if they just lose rest of their games, then that's gonna be right on the wall. At the same time, most of it's not really his fault. I would also go towards Alex Anthopoulos for not really getting the proper tools in place just in case these injuries do happen. Because with the farm system so depleted, and you're shuffling, especially with pitchers. Some pitchers have one good game, and then next 4 or 5 games they'll just straight struggle, and then you got to turn it to the bullpen.
Right.
At some point in time, you got to really point the finger of okay, where's the real issue at? Is it the manager or is it Double A?
Hey. Now that's one thing. That's a conversation to have. I know, you can either lean one way or the other, but that's definitely a conversation to have. I know you've seen the whole thing about Snit possibly retiring now, or something like that. Possibly he could retire. Now, honestly, I just feel like that was just an attention grabber or something. Because I mean, wow, somebody that's pretty much in his 70s or close to his 70s thinking about retirement. I don't think that's really a headline to a degree. But what I took from it is, well, maybe he'll retire if he feels like he possibly may be fired. That's where I start going from it. I was like, well, if things are not going well, and if people are calling for his head using other Atlanta teams, it could be like a Nate McMillan situation to where a guy was already ready to head out the door, and you're doing him a favor by just letting him go.
Yep.
It could be like that, and just crossing sports and everything. Didn't we see last year what happens when one side of the ball is doing better than the other side of the ball? Talking about the Atlanta Falcons last year now.
Yeah.
We've seen that our defense was holding up our offense, and then eventually the defense, and I'm gonna use put pitching as our defense, you know what I'm saying, start to wear down toward the end of the year.
Yep.
That's what I don't want to see happen in baseball. I don't want to see, our pitching staff, Chris Sale and Ronaldo Lopez, all these different injuries that we're having, and then they're having to come back and get into rhythm. And then your offense not being able to sustain, or your offense not being able to give you runs as they, really just haven't been able to do. We haven't been given hit and runs, but it's so crazy. We did a flip flop almost. The Atlanta Braves did. The Atlanta Braves pitching last year was not as good as their hitting. And now, so their pitching is better than the hitting, because the Braves are still one of the top teams in ERA.
Yep.
So so it's just crazy, how they've really just flip-flopped. And yeah, honestly, I just hope they can just put it all together some kind of possible way. I understand some of the guys that we had and didn't have. And I want to ask you that too, just because, again, just haven't been able to get your thoughts. But the Ron Washington thing, people are saying that it could be something to it about not having Ron Washington. I don't think that's the end all. I don't think that's the, the end all be all or anything. I do think it has like a little bit of the factor, just because, having that voice in the locker room, and Ron Washington was almost like an extra skipper in a way. So and then he was able to connect with others.
Yes.
But it can't fall on, we don't have Ron Washington, we don't have Eric Young. It can't fall on that though, because at the end of the day, we all professionals, correct?
Correct. And they're getting paid too.
And yeah, definitely getting paid. Definitely getting paid, man. And okay, and I'm glad you said that, because that's leading right into just about like my last thing that I got for you. About paying. We are definitely paying guys. I mean, that's another thing, a reason why we can't just go out and make all these big flashes. Because we are paying guys now. Alex Anthopoulos, he locked up a lot of our young core, from Ronald Acuna to Austin Riley and Michael Harris. So like some of those contracts are starting to kick in this year. So like, do you think that it was wise to, pay everybody now? Because I mean, some guys are going down with injuries. Again, it's a part of the game. You can't foreshadow. But it's like, did you pay them too soon? Maybe it's like, should you have maybe not done, something similar to what the Hawks had done? Maybe you should have had waited or see what's going on, because you got guys like, for example, Ozzy Albies, who every year gets hurt some kind of way. Like this, like he got some root on him or something.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So
now with that, I will say, like, some of the contracts, I would say, for example, Michael Harris and Spencer Strider, both of them, he pretty much extended just so like he doesn't got to get into those arbitration. So those kind of contracts I understood. In regards to now, if there was one player, I would say if they would try to cut salary and they would try to trade, the one player I would definitely see is our starting catcher,
Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy, because there is another catcher waiting in the wings in Drake Baldwin, who is hitting the bat pretty well in Gwinnett and has some power. So I think that's like somebody I would suggest you do not get rid of and try to like get somebody else.
Yeah, talking about Keith Baldwin, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because that guy right there, that's someone special. Because even I was even thinking at one point, let's say if we never did get Jorge Soler,
right,
and let's say they had decided to, not pick up Marcell Ozuna's player option. I
Mhm.
was like thinking suggest to the point, okay, you might have to do a DH by committee with catcher. Have Drake Baldwin come up, have him DH some games, and even Sean Murphy have some DH some games. So at least you'll have like, 3 catchers. Cause there's gonna be times like you may be down a catcher and you still have like 2 others. So I think some teams don't really see like catcher like as valuable as other teams are. But for me
Right.
personally, like there's gonna be a time where 2 catchers may get injured at the same time, and you got to find an emergency from like an infielder or somebody to fill up for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like want to like think ahead and stuff and everything, just in case those type situations. So I think Drake Baldwin, like I would hope he stays and gets like eventually called up, probably like either next season or year after. But if he
Mhm.
gets traded, whoever team gets him, it's going to have a very good steal.
Man, well, hopefully the Braves will be that team that can keep him because, yeah, the thing about it, it's like one of those things to where if a deal comes around to where it's like a certain player and you have to involve him, then okay, so if it's going to make us better, but if it's not going to make us like what I'm saying 100% better, it's like okay, well we got to start kind of like grooming guys because guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to get traded, what I'm saying? We're going to lose some guys, and you got to have somebody to replace them. You got to have a farm system. You got to build back up that farm system. I think that's another thing that's a priority for the Braves. As I know, as you caught wind of the draft and how we took so many pitchers and a couple of utility guys and all the thing like that, just in that draft alone. So
Yes, and they definitely stockpiled on catcher, not
yeah,
just draft but undrafted as well.
indeed. So that's what I'm saying. So you see the positions that they're they're eyeing and they want to make sure that they keep a grasp on some progression on and everything too. So it's like you can kind of see where they want to go. It's just as far as like contenders overall, like I said, I will say this. I think even if we don't make the playoffs this year, and I know some people may not like this, but I can see Snit and Double A still back with the team next year. And pretty much, but don't get me wrong, that seat will start to be warmer.
Yes,
That seat will be warmer for both of them next season.
yes,
But I can still see it because you can't like blame everything that has happened on either guy. I mean, 'cause if we still had Spencer Strider right now, just if we still had Spencer and Acuna right now, I think the Braves have a different record. I think, I mean, I know the bats are still the bats, but as far as like pitching goes, I think the Braves probably would have lockdown pitching if Sale still doing what he was doing, Freed doing what he's doing, Lopez, and then I mean, Charlie, doing what he's doing. But if you could have Spencer being at top shape, you would have had one of the best rotations in the league, not allowing runs and everything. So I believe that is what they're going to hang their hat on and saying, well, look, when we get these guys back and we make some improvements in the off season, we can possibly have everything set up to where we can, really take charge the fault, next season. That's
yes,
what I see.
definitely. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a roller coaster like rest of the season to see what the state of this team. If like I said, if they go in as a wild card, then hey, let's see how far it can go. I mean, at this rate, the track looking like 2021. And if it goes towards 2021, then we may be having a different conversation by November.
No, that's facts. That's definitely facts, man. Well, man, I ain't gonna lie. Like again, guys, this was just a quick Braves conversation. It ended up still going about close to 25 minutes, just that fast. Didn't even seem like it. But yeah, man, I definitely wanted to, let the plug RJ, get out here, give his thoughts about these Braves as you're gonna see him more often. We're definitely gonna be getting these Braves content in because they are a part of the A. And RJ, man, let the people know where they can find you, man. Get into the rhythm of letting people know.
Oh yeah. So you can follow me on YouTube at RJTF for Life. Right now, like I said, I've been gone for a minute, but I'm gonna start back, getting some like content up on my channel pretty soon, especially Braves content. You also find me at Roster Heath Jr. on X. I'll be, post a whole lot of, breaking news and stuff that I also send to my, you know, my team with A1 Forever Sports, Sean, 95 North, and Smitty Smith. So hey, get ready for the ride because it's gonna be showtime.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to hear right there. Talking about, yeah, man. So of course, man, it's not after 9. So make sure you guys find that peace, man. Positive energy always creates elevation. And come on back to the show that's cool and fly to A1 Forever Sports with Chris Tip Moore, and for myself and RJ the Plug, Smitty Sports Machine, and 95 North Falcons Talk Show, man. We will holler.